Hello guys, it's Cryptic TMG and we're back on Project Cars at Ruapuna Park GP circuit with the Audi 90 Quattro IMS GTO. And yeah, we're in free practice. This is not time trial, but this should help you get a better setup for the race if you're going to be doing races online. So here we go with the setup then. We straight away go to slick hard tyres, it doesn't have soft, and tyre pressure is at 137 all round. So that's 137 tyre pressure on the front and rear. Brake pressure we got on 100%, that's to help with stopping power, and the brake balance 65 towards the front to stop the back end from stepping out, because it really does try to get out on you, especially on the first corner on this track. Again, rear downforce, that's to make sure our car is gripping the road in the slow sections, the real tight and twisty sections, which they have quite a lot on this track. Longitude weight bias we have to the rear, that's to help with traction, again with all the tight corners, definitely needed for this track. I mean, this circuit is very technical, so it is important to maximize your traction. And so for the steering ratio we have 11.41. The caster angles I don't think I touched, definitely were with the camber angles. I went down slightly on the camber angles, that's to help with the straight line speed down the front straight, which is quite a long one. So you want to find the perfect balance between getting the car to grip and making sure that you have enough speed down the straight so you can pull off overtaking maneuvers. The toe angles I keep as what I usually do. And onto the suspension now, we've gone really low on the front suspension and slightly higher on the rear. That's to get like a slightly forward rake, which helps with the rear grip on the car. And there we go down with the spring rate. I mean, the curbs on this track, they can disrupt you, but I tend to stay away from the mounted curves. The track itself has a few bumps here and there, but in all it's not too bad. But we set the car up kind of in the middle with the rear kind of softer. That's so it can absorb the bumps a little bit more, but generally speaking the bumps ain't too bad in this circuit. As per usual, we have the rear sway bar higher than the front. That's just to help the rear grip of the car, which is definitely needed. The dampers here, I didn't touch too much. I touched the bump stops, put them on 12 at the front, 15 on the rear, again so the rear can absorb more of the bumps in the front, which will help with the back end. And the rest of this section is really and truly, it's basically stock. I fiddled here and there, but I haven't changed too much from the original setup of the car. I would have moved a couple of things slightly forward or backwards, but not too different. But you can copy this or jot this down if you want the exact base setup, but my setup isn't too different on the dampers from what it originally was with this car. So moving on to the next page, and the visual lock normally was at 100%, but I put it down to 80, and that's to help again with the turning of the car, because you can put the visual lock all the way up to 100, which will give you better traction from the clutch. But we want a bit more steering, because there's so much tight corners, you really do need the front end to be working as well. The radiator, as ever, down to 35%. Our final drive with the gears, 3.51. We've gone down 1 or 2 clicks, I think. With this car, each gear you can actually move individually. It's got a lot more scope for movement, but we haven't, messed around with each gear too much yet. I haven't tried that yet, but definitely with the final drive, I would say 3.51. That's to hit the limiter just before before you get to that first corner on that long straight. Fuel, as ever, 15% for this. And the wastage pressure is actually right up, and that's to help the airflow to get to the turbo to make sure you're getting full power. But if you're doing an endurance race, you may want to take that down by 1 or 2 notches. That's just to help the engine, to help your fuel and stuff like that. Brake mapping, normally I would run it as low as possible, but especially for the first corner in this track, for the stability under braking, you kind of need a bit of the brake mapping. So I put that on 2, which is kind of in the middle, which really does suit this circuit, suit this car. You definitely need a bit of rear end stability, and that was our setup for this track. And now for my force feedback, I've got my master scale on 26, and a lot of people don't know what the master scales and the FX does. It's basically like the environmental effects and how much the surface of the track, how you feel that through your steering wheel. I'm using the T300 GTE at the moment, and yeah, I'm enjoying the wheel. But yeah, these are my settings, just run through them quickly, so if you want to give them a try, you can just copy them. And again, onto the next page where you've got the other settings for force feedback. And yeah, I mean, I didn't know about the MZs and the FZs really when the game first came out. I only learned about them recently. Settings given to me by a guy called Zach Speed, which were very helpful. And thank you for Zach Speed. Check out his channel as well. He's another YouTuber, and he's definitely got the speed in this game. But yeah, that's the summary for our setup, and looking pretty decent. It was definitely a very fun car to drive. And now we're going to go to track, and I'm going to show you what lap time I managed to do in free practice, which is more representative than time trial. Right, now coming into the last corner, you want to get a good run of this last corner. It's quite a long corner. Hit the apex late, get on the power early in third gear, and we go straight down the home straight now. Only 5 gears on this car, so gearing isn't too difficult. Some of the cars where you got to go down from 6th to 2nd might confuse a couple of people, but here we brake just before that curb on the left hand side, down to 3rd, down to 2nd, turn in, keep a late apex, get straight on the power. Towards the fast left hander now, where you just flick down the gears, down into 4th, off the power briefly, stamp back on, use all the track on the exit, down to the tight corner now. I go down to 1st gear, some might go down to 2nd, but I like my nose to turn in. Late apex again, stamp on the throttle, power out the corner. Now for quite a difficult corner here, you go down to 2nd gear, try not to 1-2 ride, try not to get too much on the curb, half throttle it around this bend, 2nd up into 3rd, back down to 2nd again, and here we want to get a late apex so we can get on the power early, up into 3rd, use all the exit, and now we accelerate towards a very fast corner here, down to 3rd gear, swing it in, swing back towards the right hand side of the track, clip the curb on the inside, all the track on the outside, down towards the last corner again, go from 5th gear down into 3rd gear, late apex again, make sure you get a good run out here, miss the wall on the right hand side, and that's a decent lap of Ruapuna Park. And yeah, we managed to get quite a decent time here, get a 1 minute 16.368, and yeah, I was happy with that lap, and definitely, you know, it was my first 20 laps on the circuit, so pretty happy I managed to get quite a decent time with it. At least it felt like a decent lap. But here's the replay, guys. As ever, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll be doing more setup videos with the GT3s, and been neglecting Project Cars a bit since F1 2015's come out, but I will be back on Project Cars, so don't forget to like and subscribe. It's been Cryptic TMG, and peace. I'm out.